blockchain startup or a gaming startup. So really trying to also sensitize the people who have the money and who invest in innovations to get more familiar with the twin transition and green digital innovation. We run, as I said, this incubator and connect you with accelerator programs afterwards. And we're also doing a lot of research. So we are commissioning 2 studies right now that will be published either this year or early next year on the GreenTech ecosystem in Vietnam, and also on the opportunities for digital entrepreneurship and climate change. And there we work together with the Humboldt Institute of Internet and Governance in Berlin. And the last project is our GreenTech landing pad, where we invite, especially the ones from the region, so if you're in the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Laos, wherever you are, and you have an interesting idea that solves an environmental problem, we invite you to come to Vietnam and solve these problems together. Just for the time, because I would love to get in touch with you and learn more about what you are doing, I'll share a bit more insights on the GreenTech incubator. So this 3-month program will enable you as innovators, either entrepreneurs or future entrepreneurs, to help find the problem solution fit to do our industry collaboration. So these are companies that understand what does it take to be in the Vietnamese market. You will have user research, you will test your product and develop that further. And through our venture capital collaborations, you will find product market fit to really see, does your business model fit into the world and will be successful, so that you can make a living and have a successful business, but you're also at the same time solving a really important challenge. Of course, this win-win-win doesn't only work for the innovators, but of course for the industry. We allow the industry, the SMEs to innovate. It's free of charge, both for all of the innovators participating, for the SMEs, and also for the venture capitalists. So we're really trying here to create a program where everybody can benefit from and everybody sees a value proposition. So what we offer you in the incubator program, if you're based in Vietnam, is the community. You will have access to a space, you will have access to really great coaches. So we bring in expertise from cutting edge innovation agencies from Vietnam and beyond, and you will get access to all the important people that you need in your startup journey. How do you get access to investors? How do you get access to small and medium enterprises who could help buy your product or help you distribute your product? Now, if you're not based in Vietnam and you're based in the region, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, I think I saw some people participating from there, we have the GreenTech landing pad, where we offer you a program. The exact length is yet to be decided, but we offer you 2 legs of startup support. The first part will be a market discovery phase, where you will be taught and will attend webinars from leading experts in Vietnam to understand more about about the market here in Vietnam, to see, is Vietnam actually an interesting place to come to and collaborate with. And the second leg of the project is then an intense coaching journey in our market access program, where you will be supported by local experts again and matched with Vietnamese businesses to bring your innovation here to Vietnam. This is highly customized, so we really look into you and the idea you have, and to see who are the right partners here in the ecosystem. And the big learning that we have here is, in order to drive innovation, and especially US researchers are super important, because a lot of the innovation happens in the university. But what we also see is that it then often stays in the university and we can't bring it to the market. So our whole goal with the GreenTech Hub is to create new partnership models. And I showed you here a quick graphic on what is in it. So what's the value proposition that we try to build for our corporate partners and the startups, the innovators, the researchers we want to work with. And we believe that this is really key to bring us together in order to turn great research into big innovations in the market. And we would like to do this together with you, which is why I am very happy to invite you to our GreenTech incubator. If you're based in Vietnam, check out incubator.greentechhub.asia, and you will be led to this program to learn more about our first cohort. You can apply here until the end of November. The program will start by mid-December and run until March, where you will be part of our incubation program and solve really exciting challenges on the topics of circular economy and energy. You can find more details about the program, the length, the conditions on this website. We just launched this week, so you're one of the first people to actually see this. And of course, if you're based in the region and you want to get involved with us, reach out to us, reach out to me. Here's my email, and we will inform you once our GreenTech landing pad is launching next year, probably in the second quarter by March, April. And with this, maybe I stop here and see if there are already any questions or comments, and I would love to hear more about what everybody here in the crowd is doing.
Thank you so much, Tarek. Really exciting opportunities, not just for those of us that are based in Vietnam, but elsewhere here in Southeast Asia. And I'm sure there'll be questions from the crowd. So everybody who has a question, this is your opportunity now. As I wrote, you can also ask Tarek your question directly. If you give us an indication, then we can open your microphone and your camera and you can speak to him directly. So I see that there are questions coming in the chat box. Now, before I take Rogelio's question, maybe Tarek, if you could explain a little bit. You mentioned the GreenTech incubator. So this is targeted at people that are based or active in Vietnam. Can you maybe give us a little bit of an idea? What kind of profile of person or project are you looking at, or who are you addressing to join you for this opportunity?
Sure. So the profiles we're looking for are actually quite diverse. You can apply with up to 3 people per team. So maybe here, if you are a researcher, a technical expert, and you have a really great idea, you can apply with friends and colleagues, partner researchers who have more of a business background. And you will be then led together in this program through these months to get coached. But yeah, we recommend that you have, as always, a transdisciplinary approach. So not only the technical experts, but also to have experts who on business, marketing, design, psychology, depending on your idea. So really look into how could you enrich, when you are technical experts, your team with other expertise.
Apologies, I was muted. Thank you so much, Tarek. Now the questions are coming in. The first question from Rogelio Junior Rantal. He says, "Hi, sir. I'm about to take my PhD next year." I assume that means he's finishing his PhD. "I'm very interested in using the research output of my PhD dissertation to create a startup company. Do you have any advice how I should be going to do this? Should I make sure that the topic I will be studying should be commercially viable?"
This was from Rogelio?
Yes.
Okay, great question, Rogelio, and really exciting that you're finishing your PhD. So best of luck for finishing up. My advice would be to test your idea as soon as possible and move from the academic world and really get in touch with the business world, because these spaces are usually very far divided, and multiple ways to go about this. The first way is look into university. Most universities will have entrepreneurship programs where they're trying sometimes this is called a center for entrepreneurship, a center for innovation, center for entrepreneurship and innovation, center for industrial research transfer. So really see what resources does your university have in order to commercialize your knowledge and your idea. And the second way beyond that, if this doesn't exist at a university, is to look into programs in your city or in your country, to look into incubation spaces. So if you Google the keyword of your city and incubator, you will probably already start seeing first things pop up. So the second advice is connect with your local entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem. A lot of the times, if you go onto Couchsurfing or Meetup, these are good platforms. A lot of times entrepreneurs will organize their like entrepreneurial entrepreneur network meetings. And it's really important to get connected to this community and find a program such as ours here in Vietnam that can support you in this, because they will know who do you need to connect with, who are the right business people to speak to. Are there any venture capital funds available? Is there any funding available for your idea? And the last advice, if you found this and you found your entrepreneurial ecosystem, your network, is to see what specific sector are you relevant for. So if you have an energy idea, but you go into a program that's mostly supported gaming startups or marketing, advertising technology, they may not be the best program for you. So get connected to your university program, get connected to your local or regional innovation ecosystem, Google things like incubator in your city. And then when you do the research, really pay attention to, is this a program that is relevant also to my sector? Because a lot of the times entrepreneurs and researchers go into these programs and they get quite disappointed, because you will see that some people are not very familiar with your specific technical field. And it's really key that you find the right program that gathers together the right expertise. I hope this was helpful.
Thank you so much, Tarek. We have now a question from Nisha Govender. Nisha, I've made you a panelist as well, so you can now open your camera and also your microphone to ask your question. Please introduce yourself. Nisha?
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, good evening from Malaysia. So my question is, what about for those who are, we are not from Vietnam, for those countries which belong within the region, we are not aware of exactly what is the ideal research scope like as in circular economy. Yeah, of course, some of the problems here, we are sharing it with Vietnam. But how can I check whether this particular research is it falls within the incubators program and I'm doing the right thing? Because I don't want to be like, it is not easy to prepare a research proposal and at the end of the day we don't comply into your interest, the sponsor. So I want to know how can you help us to make sure that we are doing the right thing and it is parallel to what the sponsor is seeking from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha. So I think the question is really how to ensure that the innovative idea that researchers, innovators in ASEAN are pursuing also matches with the interests of GIZ.
Sure. I'll share my screen again, and there are two answers. Thank you for your question, and greetings to Malaysia. There are two answers to that. So for the GreenTech incubator, I can give you this as an example. This is really targeting for innovators based in Vietnam, not necessarily only Vietnamese, but you should be based in Vietnam and active here. And for our GreenTech landing pad program, which is happening next year in April, we will open the scope. So people from Malaysia, if you have a great idea, you can apply. And I'll show you how the website will look like next year as well, so you can get an understanding. Hang on. Can you see my screen? Yeah, I assume nobody is screaming.
Yes, Tarek, yeah, we can.
Perfect. Sorry. So if you go to incubator.greentechhub.asia, this will be the website you see. You will get an overview here of why you should join the program. You will, there's prize money that we offer. And here you can see the different challenges that we host. So here you will understand for the incubator program now that's targeting Vietnamese innovators, what we are looking for. You can see it from smart agriculture to agricultural byproduct management, the industrial waste and byproduct management and monetization. And if you click on these challenges, you can try that out later on with the link I provided. You can then read more about these different challenges. So here you will have a little prompt. So our challenge here is how might we enable manufacturing small and medium enterprises factory managers to capture and monitor energy consumption data to optimize their operations and facilitate decision-making for energy efficiency. And you can then read up more about these challenges here. And if this challenge is interesting to you, in the participation here, you can apply to become a part of it and work on that challenge. So you can see here, we divided by energy and circular economy challenges. And here really you can dig deeper into the topics of what are we looking for. So maybe you are interested in agriculture and you have worked on smart agriculture, and you can look into this challenge. And if you have an idea and you're based in Vietnam, you can apply for this. And this will be the same again for the GreenTech, which we will launch next April, March or April, where you will also have certain challenges. And then you can see, is your research relevant, or to which challenge that we host here is your research relevant? Did that answer the question?
Nisha, I think it did.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nisha,
for
the question, and thank you, Tarek, for answering it so comprehensively. Now we have a couple more questions here. Perhaps I'll ask Farah's question first. Farah Ramadani is interested by the topic. He has an interesting question, and you alluded to it, Tarek, already in your own presentation. How can we create a win-win collaboration with industries or governments as academics or academic staff? What are the specific challenges coming from a university background? And what is your advice on having a win-win collaboration with industry?
Excellent question. Thank you for that. The biggest challenge that we see is really culture. And I'm not talking about country culture, but really about sector culture. So there is a specific language and a specific rituals and tools that you as researchers have learned that sometimes are a bit foreign to the business world, and vice versa. A lot of the lingo, a lot of the language we use in the business world will be foreign to you as researchers. So it's really about finding a common language in order to understand each other better, in order to understand what are our priorities. A lot of the researchers we work with, for example, have big concerns regarding intellectual property, right? Like, I have this great idea and this great research. I don't want to give this away. What if somebody steals my idea? But coming from the business world, if you don't, for business people, ideas are worth, so to speak, nothing or not a lot, right? Like, innovation is when you take an idea to execution. So you might have the best idea in the world, right? We're all like, I could have thought of Facebook, but we didn't do Facebook, right? So it's probably also not the best idea. We can argue about Facebook a lot and the effect it has on democracy and in governments. But yeah, and look at any successful business, and it's really about the execution. So rather than sitting in your research room in your library and holding on to this great idea, it's important to go out there and test your ideas with the business world to see does it garner any interest. And of course, you can have non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, etc. So this collaboration needs to be well managed. But yeah, it's important to get out there and really connect. This is what I said earlier with talking to your Center for Entrepreneurship, talking to the Industrial Research Transfer department, if you have that, or talk to incubators who are hopefully familiar with the process of coming with research and having technical people, technical experts like you, and then help them make that move in the business world. So my advice would always be, don't do it alone. Find partners like the GIZ here in Vietnam, but there are other donors in your context, and maybe even the GIZ who run programs that will support you. So I would really advise you, do the research to look into support programs, because it's very hard as an individual researcher to do all of that alone. There are programs out there that support you, where they have the expertise of making that move from your research world into the business world easier.
Thank you, Tarek. That was a great answer. And you touched on so many important things. Communication is important, you know, being able to communicate your idea to a different audience. And that's not always easy, right? If you're used to speaking to academics, you have a certain way of looking at things. And of course, businesses, companies have different priorities. And as Tarek said, there are lots of platforms that you could use to identify potential collaborators. Of course, with our EU R&I days, it's the Research and Innovation Days on purpose. This is one of the platforms. We have a couple of sessions still today and tomorrow, where you will also be able to hear from companies from other parts of Europe. We have Finland, Spain, Austria lined up for the next few days. So you should perhaps also consider this. But on the Euraxis website, I'd like to come back to that as well. We have a specific tab for you to identify potential collaborators. And Euraxis is a network not just of academics, but we have a lot of companies, industry representatives that are using this platform, because that is exactly it. We need to bring, you know, the idea and the funding together. We have a couple more questions, Tarek, and I think that really relates to what you said about the GreenTech landing pad, because you said, of course, GIZ, apologies, not just focusing on collaboration in Vietnam or with Vietnam, but you have programs also for other parts in Southeast Asia. There's a question here from Emil Kaburuan, and he says, nice to listen to you. Are you covering Southeast Asian countries for the program? So maybe you could just again say a little bit about the GreenTech landing pad and how interested people could join forces.
Sure, thank you, Susanne. With the GreenTech landing pad, we are targeting innovators specifically in the region. So if you are based in a Southeast Asian country that is not Vietnam, but you have an interesting idea for energy and circular economy, you can reach out to us. We'll put you on a mailing list and then inform you once our program is launching next year. And you will be able to then work with us and see how you can bring your innovation to Vietnam. So it could be, if you're in Indonesia, a Vietnamese-Indonesian collaboration that we help you build, or a Vietnamese-Malaysian collaboration. Beyond that, we also have a digital transformation center in Indonesia. So if you're based in Indonesia, you can also reach out to me. I will connect you with our colleagues and in Indonesia, and they will able to inform you more on the programs they are running. They are also starting an incubation format next year in January, if I'm not mistaken. And you can also get in touch with them. So this is really just our center in Vietnam and the two programs we run. But if you're looking for something that's more focused on driving innovation in your ecosystem, if you're in Indonesia, there's definitely programs. If you're not in Indonesia, I'm still happy to connect. But yeah, there will be other programs by other donors, I'm very sure, in your specific ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Tarek. So we've had, there's lots of opportunities from GIZ for all of you with innovative ideas and ambitions to commercialize also the research and the ideas that you have. Now we have a few more minutes. If you would like to ask more questions, please do so. As I said at the beginning, we will of course share today's presentation, the recording, with everyone along with the slides, and Tarek has already posted the website links in the chat, so please do feel free and look it up and then get in touch with them. Now we have a question here from Michelle Reyes. She's I think from the Philippines, and she's asking, scientists are notorious for not knowing how to market their ideas or inventions. Does your program tackle marketing?
Definitely. So our program targets everything you need when coming up with a business, from product development, testing with your users, testing with the target group that you work with. How do you market your product? What is the pricing like? What is the supply chain? How do you need to manufacture your product? So we really take you from 0 to 1, at least. This is what we do in incubation. We start off with something very small, and you end up with something that you can then take from 1 to 0. This is also how you evaluate where you are in your journey. If you already have an existing product, maybe you have started your own business, but you really missed the traction, then you're probably at 1 and need to get to 0 and need to get to 100, sorry. But if you're just new and starting out, an incubator program is really what you need. So 0 to 1 is really what we offer you, and we give you all that knowledge to bring something into the world and check if people want it and if people need it.
Thank you so much, Tarek. Could I maybe ask a question? Is there a limit to the number? Do you have a particular number in mind for projects that you will be able to support as part of these 2 platforms that you mentioned?
Yeah, sure. So for our incubator program, we will start with about 20 teams. So this will be up to 60 people for the first month. They will go through an innovation sprint. And then we will have a second selection process in January after the first month, where we will boil this down to the 10 most high potential teams. So we'll be about 30 people that we work with in the end. This is for the incubator here in Vietnam. And we'll be targeting for the market discovery about the same size. So up to 20 to 30 teams for the first cohort for the market discovery. And then the high potentials will be about 10 teams that we will also try to bring here to Vietnam to collaborate with the local.
Excellent. And will we be able to read up maybe on the first batch that you're selecting?
Sure. So we will publish this online. Just keep a close look at it for our link. We will post updates there.
I think that will be very helpful for everybody who's perhaps a little bit hesitant, maybe to keep an eye on who the first batch is. And as we've heard, there's a second deadline in January, or a second round in January, so you can get yourself prepared. Now, I don't see any more questions. Now, everybody, this is your chance to really get your questions out. And I always say there is no such thing as a silly question, only the one that hasn't been asked. So I'll give you another 60 seconds. But I think that was excellent, Tarek. People are already thanking us for a very great didactic session. And I really enjoyed it because it was very practical, and it's a very concrete example of collaboration, how you can be supported in your own innovation story. So thanks so much, Tarek, for presenting the project and these different opportunities to all of us. We will publish this recording online. You will all receive from us an email in the next few days, few weeks, where we are sharing with us also further information so that you can work on your own destiny, so to say. Tarek, there is another question. It's coming in from Dan Babulescu from, maybe Dan, you can also tell us where you're from. Dan is looking for potential research partners. He wants to apply for EU research funding for projects. Can you help with that as well? So I think the question is, do you have a network of potential European collaborators? Dan is from Romania. He's joining us from Romania.
So this is something that I unfortunately can't help you. That's not within my role. But so for German funding, we have an institution called the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service, and they offer small research grants all the way up to full study scholarships for PhDs. I actually, when I went to Taiwan, I was funded by the German Academic Exchange Service, the DAAD. You can go on the website, and they're another German institution like us, and research you can put in where you're based, and also, if you're a PhD candidate or postdoc, and they will give you the programs that the German government is facilitating. I don't know, Susanne, if you could share on a European basis if there's any sort of database you might be better versed in that than I am.
Well, thank you so much, Tarek, for passing the baton to me, because that is exactly what Euraccess is doing. So I'm just quickly sharing my screen here with you. Oops, that's the wrong one. Of course, it doesn't work now. I want to show you the Euraccess website. Where is the Euraccess website? As I said at the beginning, what we are basically a one-stop information and support tool for anyone who is looking to collaborate with researchers from other parts of Europe and other parts of the world. And one of the key elements of Euraccess is our funding portal. So we have a funding portal. If I cannot share my screen, then I'm at least going to show it to you in the chat. But there, Dan, you will find funding opportunities from 43 European countries and of course EU funding. So that is the funds currently called Horizon Europe, which is the EU framework program for research and innovation. There are a number of funding programs in there, specifically the MSCA, the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, or perhaps the European Research Council grant. I'll put this here in the chat box. You can all look at it, but please, Euraccess should be your first port of call when it comes to looking for funding for your research projects, also to perhaps build collaborations with partners in ASEAN, in Europe. Then please do make use of the Euraccess portal, because this is where you will find the information. And that, of course, includes information from the DAD, because Germany is, of course, a Euraccess member. And Tarek is absolutely right. The DAD has a huge number of scholarships and funding opportunities for researcher mobility and research collaboration. Now, I think this brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much, Tarek, for sharing your time, your expertise, and for introducing all of us to the project and the fabulous opportunities that GIZ offers. For all of you listening, thank you so much. It was great. I really enjoyed our session and the questions. Again, you will receive follow-up information with the links. We will also reach out to Tarek. Maybe we can have a little interview with you, Tarek, so that people can learn more about you and the project that you're managing. And I do hope that you will perhaps also have the time to join us for the other sessions as part of the European Research and Innovation Days. In just, I think, under 15 minutes, we have a session with Finland. And then later today, we have a session with the colleagues from Spain. So if you have time, you're more than welcome. With this, thank you so much. I'm wishing you all a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning, rest of the day, and I hope to see you all very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susanne. Thank you, Julian and Ben, for the tech support.